anywhere. But she told me, I don't know who you're talking about. And I was like, wow, okay, let me tell you about Jesus. So anyway, all this to say, me and my sister truly agonized on trying to care for my mother while she was alive and somehow process it all, and tried to do our best, and always feeling inadequate, that we weren't doing enough. Even afterwards, we both talked about that we struggled with that. Um, but even with the memories of months of exhaustion and fear and self-doubt and second guessing everything, um, and then in an instant it all vanished. It was over. um, some people talk about you feel orphaned when both parents are gone. My husband said that, and I didn't feel orphaned, believe it or not. I still don't. I just miss them horribly. People process differently, they grieve differently. You can share like I'm sharing, but always respect that somebody else may be experiencing it differently. Um, it's ironic that we show so little attention to the grieving of the loss of a parent when 12 million Americans a year bury a parent or lose a parent. Um, we're caught off guard when it happens, no matter how much you plan. I know people said lovingly, Beth, you need to prepare yourself. And I did everything that you possibly could to prepare myself emotionally, physically, all the business of death, which, getting all the things ready. When it actually happened, the pain was just as intense, if not more, than I thought it was going to be. Um, and even if we've cared for them almost like they're a child, because they become dependent on us the way we were when we were children, um, you still will always be a child in relation to your parent. Matter of fact, I feel like um, that it's the parent of our youth and our childhood that we bury. That was our relationship as a child, and the world's just a different place. It's just different after they're gone. And we get busy, we build careers, we build families, we do all the things they would have wanted us to do. And well-meaning friends will say things like, your mom lived a long life. Your dad it's the suffering's over. It must be such a relief for you. And they mean well. Don't beat up your friends who are trying to say the right thing, and say people just shouldn't say anything. They don't know. They just care about you and they want to say something good. So just give them grace that at least they cared. At least they tried to say something profound or meaningful because they care about you. And I think it's also important for us to be okay as we grieve and we work through it, to allow ourselves stages that people will talk about. What are the stages of grief? And there are some, and you've probably seen books and stuff, and I may do a follow-up to this about those stages. But the bottom line is, you may go through them out of order. You may go through them over and over and over. I remember 2 years after my mom died, I had started a grief recovery group where I worked, and we would meet at lunch. I also went to the one at my church, and I remember them saying, now there is this very, almost like it was dangerous level where you can be stuck. And certainly, after 6 months, and I remember going, 6 months, it's 2 years. And they're like, oh, you're definitely stuck. And I'm like, I will never get over the death of my mother. And now I'm dealing with the care of my father. So there was all kinds of things that I was going through. And regardless of what people say, you have the right to feel how you feel. Process it in the way you need to. I think it's a healthy thing to talk to family members who knew them, and they will probably be very open to that. Or a special friend who may also have an aging parent and kind of scared to hear about it, but they don't mind hearing about your situation or giving you a hug if you cry. some people don't bring it up. They're not being insensitive. It's just they don't know if you want to talk about it. Or, they don't want to make you cry. Other people are like, don't bring it up. You're going to make her cry. You're still already crying somewhere in private. You just still, and I want someone who's grieving to feel comfortable to go ahead and cry in front of me and can I hug you? And then may say, no, please don't. It'll just get worse. Then respect that. Or they may say, yes, I really need a hug. Then respect that. But the best thing is to listen and maybe even offer, hey, tell me your favorite story about your dad, or your favorite story about your mom, or your sibling, or whoever has passed in that person's life. And you can bring it up in ways like I just did about when I was in the garden and how much I thought about my mom, or when I would see a golf show come on, the Masters or something. Me and my dad sometimes, that was our little bonding thing. He loved to watch golf, and I would sit and watch it with him, and I actually got interested in golf. So when maybe one of the Opens comes on or something, the Masters or whatever, or just part of a golf series. That might be your time around your friend to say, you know what, I really miss getting to watch golf with my dad. And that may be a way where you can share with someone else and them feel comfortable to share with you. So, also it's important to let yourself be human. Your parents would forgive you, certainly now, even if there's some things y'all had to work through. If they're in heaven, all that's over with. So they've forgiven you. They're not even thinking about you, probably. They're thinking about, oh my gosh, this is heaven. Almost like they're a child again, and they get to see God face to face. No more need for faith. There's proof right in their face. So I want you to be confident that your parent or whoever who's gone on to see Christ has forgiven you. So you need to forgive yourself. You really do. For anything you really didn't do quite right. It's okay. It's okay. And if you say, no, it wasn't, well, it's okay now. Because it's over. And beating yourself up is not the answer. And that's not what any loved one that loved you would want you to do. Not every relationship I know is good between you and maybe a deceased person. A person who's passed on out of this world. Maybe you didn't have a good relationship with your parents or a sibling or a friend, whoever. Then you have to know that you forgive yourself, and if they won't forgive you, then if they've gone to heaven, they've forgiven you. I can guarantee you that, because Jesus is about forgiveness. Then you need to forgive yourself. If there was somebody that is not saved and you're thinking, we parted this earth with never fixing it, I think you still have to say, but Lord, I don't know what you did. I don't know what happens. My best friend died, and I remember when they cut the machine off, they had to make that decision. Her toe moved, and I thought, Lord, even if there was a split second that she could have had some sort of consciousness or some sort of way before the end, that she could have put her faith in you, you would have taken that option. You would have made that happen. And I think she would have chosen you. And that's all I know now. I can't be in the afterlife and know that. I think one of the big things that you go through, and I still go through this now, and I think it's normal, is that when we're involved in our parents aging and them preparing to die, we are also going through aging and preparing to die. We start thinking about, what's it going to be like when I die? What's the money is it going to last until I die? I remember my dad said to me once, sometimes I wonder, is my money going to outlast me, or am I going to outlast my money? And I said, well, Daddy, I hope your money outlasts you, not for me, but so that you are never in need. But if you were, you could come live with me, or I would second mortgage my home to take care of you. So you don't have to worry about anything financial. And it ended up that we didn't have to worry. So, we can use the experience when, especially with the loss of a parent, of thinking about maybe how we might want to prepare for our end. And it also makes us sensitive to ourselves in that area and sensitive to others. Be sensitive to other people who have gone through this. Anyway, you don't need a bunch of philosophers and books and things to tell you we will never be the same after losing a loved one. But in particular, a parent. They won't be there to applaud our accomplishments, to discipline us, to call up and say, hey, what are you doing today? Or, hey, I called your sister. And did you know that your niece and nephew are doing this or that? That's something my mom always did. That's over. The dynamics of the history of your family have been irrevocably changed. And that finality is what brings this emotion, the finality. Even if you know it's coming, it's the finality. And that can be of anything in life, really, when you lose a job or leave a job through retirement or move or whatever it is, that it's the last time. There is an emotional response to that because of the finality of, that's it, that's the end of that. And it's just a moment. And it can be reflected on later, and it still has that same emotional thing in it. That even now, I'm emotional. Anyway, that doesn't mean that all the treasures of experiences that you've had are over, and you can enjoy those memories. Try to focus on the good ones. I remember right after my mom was in the hospital, a lot of my memories were her suffering, and I was very traumatized. And people are like, Beth, you need to think on the good things. I'm like, I can't. All I can think of is what I just experienced. And same thing with my dad, the trauma of it all. I think it's okay to work through that. And again, on another video, I probably have switched into 2 videos. Let me see how far in. Yeah, I don't even know where this is ending. But I will say that I may do another video on the steps of grieving. And there's some people say there's 6, some people say there's 12. Who knows? And also how many times you go through it or what order you go through it. It's just recognizing that some of these things are normal. And I think that can be helpful too. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope that if you have experienced the death of a parent or a loved one of any kind, that